Welcome, one and all, to Last Stop Penn Station podcast featuring Carrie Silken and Ian Riccaboni. They dive deep into Carrie's wealth of stories, and no subject is off limits. From the world of wrestling to his ticket agency, growing up in New Jersey, drug-fueled underground days, hustling in the French Quarter of New Orleans, and endless days and nights in New York City, every story is worth telling.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting edition of Last Stop Penn Station, brought to you by Bisson Creative Web Design, Ian Riccaboni, Carrie Silken, the guest of honor. Carrie, things are heating up in Ring of Honor. We're approaching the 19th anniversary pay-per-view, and we now know who will challenge Roosh for the World Championship.
My man, Jay Lethal, I tweeted today because it came up on my phone that 1 year ago. It wasn't 1 year ago. It was on this date, March 9th, Jay Lethal and myself and some of my other friends, we were in Atlantic City for a Ian Anderson, Jethro Tull show. And when I tweeted, I go, look at this, 1 year ago. It seems like yesterday, but it seems like a million years ago. Well, it was 2 years ago.
Oh.
So time really does fly.
Yeah.
But this is coming out on March 12th. Mm-hmm. So we were just about, what was the date of last year's?
I think it was the 13th.
Right. So a year ago on the release, when you're listening, when thousands of listeners are listening to this, I was flying to Vegas, landing and having a lovely dinner with the only person who saw me. I got a text. I'm at beautiful Sam's Town, and I'm like, I'm by myself. I came on Wednesday. This way I'll have all day Thursday to hang out with you and Jay and Todd and our other good friends. And then Friday and Saturday were the shows, which that's when, as my plane was coming in and my phone was getting reception, the first thing I saw was NBA postpones season indefinitely.
Yeah.
And but I had a nice dinner that night with Bully Ray.
Okay, yeah.
Who saw me checking in as he was moseying into that nice steak place, the one good restaurant.
Yeah, and you, me, and Bully Ray ate there. Yeah,
right.
And
Mark Kruskal too.
The great publicist.
And Brian Zane.
Brian Zane of Wrestling with Regret. Yeah,
right. So it's been a year, bro.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I remember. As you were flying in, my class was happening. I teach at Holy Family, or occasionally. As I was teaching, some of you said, Professor Riccaboni, they're stopping the NBA. And I go, what? He goes, stopping the NBA. And then Professor Riccaboni, Tom Hanks has it. And it was like, okay. And that's when it started to get super serious. And I remember when I landed, I still got on the plane the next day. I still went out on Thursday, and it was chaos. I was at Sam's Town as spring training ended. They let the final game of that day conclude, and they said, okay, it's over. We're going to pause. And that's when I kind of knew. And by then, Ring of Honor already called our event off. We were ahead of the Major League Baseball. We were ahead of the NHL. But yeah, it was frightening. It was scary.
Mike G, who's writing the Last Stop Penn Station memoir, slowly but surely, we're working on it. I had given him tickets, or he had gotten some tickets from me to take one of his good friends was in town, so he wanted to go show them Hadestown, which he had seen previously.
Yeah.
And he was ready to go in, but Broadway that Thursday, which was the day after I arrived and the day you were on the plane, Broadway shut down and still shut down. So
spring will come again.
Spring will come again.
I got vaccinated. You got vaccinated.
Yeah, they postponed my second vaccination. I'll get it within the next what was the math? Let's see, 28 within the next 14 days.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a bummer.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it'll be.
I wanted to get it over with.
I know.
Our producer AJ got it. Second one, minor side effects, but nothing.
Sure.
You know, under, ladies and gentlemen, would you believe this? Because this is honestly under the guise of obesity.
Oh, wow. Listen,
and asthma.
I am 6 feet, 219 pounds. According to the body mass index, which is the preferred method of measurement by the United States government.
Would you stand up for a second, please? Look at this.
I have a 34-inch waist. I don't know what to tell you, but I checked off 2 of the boxes because of my asthma and because I came up as obese. When I just went in, and you know what? I went into the Lehigh Valley Health Network portal. And it said, you may qualify for the following reasons, because it has my health record and my health history. And so I put my name in, and about 2 weeks later, I got a push notification that said, we have vaccines available. Please select your availability. And Hazleton was the first place that came up, which is about an hour away.
God rest their souls. Ian, due to his causes of the obesity, might have been next on line behind Haystacks Calhoun and Man Mountain behind him. No, I'm really glad you got it.
No.
And Sarah got it.
Yeah.
AJ's gotten both, and damn it, I got simultaneously. I got a phone. I was exercising downstairs today, and you get these strange spam calls.
Sure.
Well, now they're getting crafty with these spam calls because they usually are oddball area codes.
Yeah.
Now you're getting I get 610 ones.
Right.
But I answered this one, and it was a recording about this postponement, which I also got an email. So at least they were on top of it. I was a little bit bummed out, but more than a little, but I just want to get it over with.
Yeah. And
there's some people that just can't get online. So, yeah, but it's been a year, man.
I can't believe it. The last thing I did in public was with you and with Todd.
Yeah, that great craps roll.
Yeah.
At the beautiful Stratosphere.
The beautiful Stratosphere. We were there for a couple hours, and then we drove it. You got a nice flight home. Ring of Honor, paid for us to go home a little early.
Yeah,
and,
I urged Ian. Todd was supposed to stay until Sunday or Monday.
Me too. Yeah.
And I urged these guys. You might want to get out of town. And I believe they both, not that they wouldn't have figured it out on their own, but they heeded my warning.
Yeah, I knew it was serious when I started to see people in masks. Just then, people were just covering their face on the plane home, and it was kind of a wake up call because you realize, you think, oh, you're young and you're healthy, but then as information became available quickly that, yeah, you might survive, but you might give it to somebody else. And that was the scary part.
It's also been a year that we've been doing this podcast.
Yeah, more than a year.
We took a little break during the early part of the pandemic. It just was a safe thing to do. But although we don't have 50 episodes, we've been doing this over a year. And I want to thank you and AJ. It's been, for me, with my business being shut down and, the provisions with Ring of Honor, with making it difficult to go. This has been one of the absolute highlights for me. So I hail you both.
No.
Thank you. And it's fun to get this content out, as well as the watch part, as well as the content. Excuse me, we'll get to the watch part in a second, but as well as doing the 55 and 5.
Yeah.
And the poster of the week on the ad-free network with Conrad Thompson. We thank Conrad for giving us that opportunity. And Monday's matches were excellent.
Yeah, we talked about Jay Lethal already. Dalton Castle said he's gonna hang it up in Ring of Honor, move on to a different opportunity if he didn't win, and he won. So that's at least one more match from Dalton. And not only is the watch party the week by week, you got to watch that every Tuesday now.
Yes.
because Dalton Castle is in the pure rankings with his win against Josh Woods. He's now ranked number 5. So his eyes lit up when they announced that.
That's a tough man to beat, Josh Woods.
Sure is, especially with the pure rules that heavily favor Josh Woods. So maybe Dalton Castle is, some people said trickery. I got a back problem. I've had that where your back locks up, and then I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't a trick, that he just had a spasm real quick. And then all is well. I still think Dalton fought a clean match, but some people think he was maybe not on the up and up there.
I thought it was all right. And then the main event.
Yeah, Jay Lethal, EC3, Matt Taven, Jay Briscoe.
Talk about 4 bulls.
Yeah. Any one of those guys could headline a pay-per-view for the Ring of Honor World Championship and have, with the exception of EC3, but that's only because he hasn't been here, all but a couple months. So it's exciting to see those guys lock it up. And this is the first time ever we're going to see Jay Lethal versus Roosh.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be good.
Yeah.
And my experience, although it's been over a year, sitting at ringside with Bobby Cruz, when you're years ago or a few years ago, you used to be right up by the ring.
Yeah.
But now you're back a little. Mm-hmm. I don't think you've been right next to the ring when Roosh is out there.
Only in Vegas.
This guy's dangerous.
Only in Vegas. And you know what? He was dangerous the other night. He was dangerous.
He came up to you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes they air this on week by week. The fans don't necessarily see it. Him and Dragon Lee and their father Bestia and Kenny King, they now come up to the announce position, take my headset, and start talking into it. And I don't know what the hell is going to happen. He's the only guy. It's simultaneously the most thrilling and most terrifying thing that's ever happened, where I don't know what this guy's going to do. I don't. And you generally have an idea. Even in the world of pro wrestling, some things are off limits. The monitors are off limits, or you got to pay for those out of pocket. There's different things that are off limits. He doesn't care.
Well, I don't want to jinx myself, but I made it through a 18-year career with Ring of Honor with not getting mowed down, except getting having Bully Ray put a kendo stick in my throat, and a number of times with near collisions. Mm-hmm. But with Roosh, you got to be careful.
Got to be careful, and it's going to be exciting to see that. That's in 2 weeks' time on the 26th of March.
Friday night, the 26th.
It's going to be a hell of a night, and there's going to be a watch party on the pre-show. Last time we did the whole event from hour 1 all the way through, and set it as a Zoom party. But Honor Club members are going to be invited to join the hour 1 with myself, some of the stars of Ring of Honor, to talk about the event, because we want everybody talking about it using ROH 19. A couple of matches already announced for the pay-per-view, including EC3 versus Jay Briscoe. They're finally going to lock horns. And there's a rumbling that Mexa Squad's going to cash in their rematch to take on Shane Taylor Promotions for the 6-man titles.
Well, that sounds good. It's going to be a loaded show. Mm-hmm. Please, if you're a wrestling fan, I'm sure most people that listen to this podcast know Ring of Honor, but if you haven't been watching it lately, this is definitely a show you don't want to miss, as corny as that sounds, but
I'll tell you what, it's a bargain too. It's $9.99 for a month of Honor Club. Get it for a month.
I just spent $49 for another company.
Sure.
I did. It was fine. They did it was a really good show. But for 1/5 of the price, you're getting 100% of the action.
Absolutely, and there's no better pitch than that. But Carrie, speaking of pitches, I'm going to pitch it back to you. We've been talking about the fun schemes. This is the most we've talked about. The most fan interaction we've had have been the last couple of episodes in terms of the schemes on the tickets and
the Ticketmaster
cracking the code on the Ticketmaster. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to. I didn't really know where to go with this. We were talking about me coming out to this area. And I came across, because the name of the company when I worked with Farrell was Mr. Tickets. Oh. And so, once again, boys and girls, this is pre-internet days. So when you bought tickets, we would send you a Mr. Tickets full-service ticket broker, which had the various maps of the arenas and the popular theaters of the day. We had a disclaimer. So that with a phone call, you could charge tickets to any of these events and have excellent seats in your hands the following day. It's that simple.
Wow. Why
not try us and see how we earn the name Mr. Tickets? And Farrell, we were talking about all these loading up the Ticketmaster lines and these programs and being able to get tickets out of the box office with certain connections. But I really didn't talk about, and now we're doing a short one today, but I came out here, we touched on this the other one, but I came out here in early 72. And it was it was culture shock because I'd been in Hoboken for like the past 5 years, and I was...
So 92 then.
Right, 92. So I was in Hoboken. I had the apartment from like early 88 on, but I was around Hoboken ever since I'd come back from New Orleans. You could go back to... there's a really good, I'm going to tie this together with New Orleans. There's a really good show called Your Honor with the man you saw in Bryan Cranston.
Oh, yeah. Broadway. Oh, yeah. Network. Yeah.
Right. In Network. Yeah. There's a show called did I got the name right? Your Honor. Well, he portrays a judge in New Orleans. His kid gets in trouble. It's really good. I haven't been watching these series lately. I've been watching a lot of music documentaries. And last night I was like, what the hell am I going to watch? And a couple people mentioned this to me, so I put it on. But where I'm going with this was I was binge watching. I watched 4 of them last night. It was that good. And before you guys came over, I watched episode 5.
Ooh.
And there's a part in episode 5 where the Bryan Cranston character, who's a judge, he's getting held up for this ransom money to cover up this dirty deed. And he's got to meet this guy on the corner of Bourbon and St. Louis, which was exactly the corner where I lived.
Wow.
And these small studio apartments. So that was an odd thing. But so it was culture shock coming out here to the Lehigh Valley. And the first year or so with Mr. Tickets, things weren't that good. It was just myself and Farrell and working with limited money and through the connections with Freddie the Weeper and these other people that Farrell knew. And it was like a synergistic thing of the right shows and that Ticketmaster program and having a little more money. Eventually we hired another guy, which is Joe from my office, who I'll leave his last name out. Joe, who still works with me. And I met him, and we just needed we needed a third person. All the calls, as I described earlier, Farrell had was going chapter 11. So let's take out a lot of yellow page ads. And as you explained, the yellow pages, they come out in cycles.
Yeah.
Like maybe,
a fall edition.
Right. Brooklyn's going to come out in November. So like in February, when he concocted this idea, it was just like, hey, I'm going to go bankrupt anyway. It's like Al Rucco from the Illuminati. Fuck them. Let them sue me. I ain't got nothing. They can't even slap a garnish on me. So first, like the Brooklyn one came out, and then the Nassau County one, and then the Bergen County one. So by about early 93, there were enough of these yellow pages. And another really good source, because you had asked me previously, how did you get, how did you got these phone calls? They were from the yellow pages, and they were from some other loyal customers, which, Farrell had been in the business for about 10 years, and He had people that called him regularly. And there was also the newspapers.
Okay.
So one of the best newspapers, and it was just the little classified ads, was the Newsday in Long Island.
Yeah.
You know the Long Island Newsday?
I sure do, yeah.
And that little, just like Mr. Kelly, who we spoke with you, when I was looking at, what do you look, don't you know, he was referring to it in looking for a job.
Yeah.
If the job's so good, why are they going to advertise for people?
Right.
But yeah, they had a ticket section in the Star Ledger.
Yeah.
And once in a while, we would do like a little 1-inch ad, New York Post. We weren't the only people doing it.
Sure.
A lot of people were. But by 93, things started rolling.
What was the big show? Cats? Cats still rolling at that point?
No, the big show, was, we weren't really doing theater because we didn't have the money.
Okay.
Miss Saigon.
Okay.
Phantom was still hot.
Yeah.
But it was the concerts that happened. 93 was the year of that first Billy Joel, Elton John tour.
Okay.
93 was also the year, and you're gonna chuckle, but the year of Barbra Streisand.
Oh, her comeback.
Yeah, and the tickets were like 50 to 500.
Whoa.
And I remember Farrell decide, and this isn't with the program. We're just like buying them, and they came up online like section. The 107 at the Garden, which is like the center lower level, and there were like 5. I go, Farrell, I think they might have been $375 each. He goes, nah, someone will take them, and he was right.
Wow.
And because the shows sold out right away. You also had that year in 93, and we thought this was going to be the end of the ticket business, when simultaneously there were 2 shows that were basically running for a month, musical acts that had top face. Barbra Streisand was only doing like one night, or maybe it was 2 nights at the Garden, but that wasn't. But all of a sudden, Simon and Garfunkel are playing at the old Felt Forum, the Hulu or Ring of Honor did the
press
Fan
conference.
Fest,
Yeah.
right?
Fan Fest, yeah.
And they were there for like 4 weeks, a night off here and there. And it was $100 top price. And at the time, tickets for Yes were $28, and the Allman Brothers were $24. And that was about the price. Yeah. And also, Bette Midler played Radio City.
Wow.
For once again, another 4-week run with $100 face. Now, zipping ahead to 2021, this would be rock bottom. Right?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Now, so Bette Midler and Simon and Garfunkel also had some, $20 and $30 and $50 tickets.
Sure.
But we were like, this is crazy. Are people going to spend? They did. They did. So,
and how about Michael Jackson, Guns N' Roses? They were red hot, and both of them disappeared right about that time. That year, those bands didn't play, but when they played, Guns N' Roses was always big, and obviously Michael Jackson was huge. But 93 put us over the top. We had to hire. There was a kid who was working at the mini mart. Who I was like, I would go in there. He seemed like a sharp kid. His name was Damon. We hired him. So we eventually had by 94, we had like 3 to 4 people in the office. Wow.
Like Farrell, like not having to be there.
Okay.
He had a wife and 4 kids.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily like being home either. Which will get us to Disney World one day.
Okay.
But yeah, that's when things started getting good leading into 94.
Yeah.
And he was a man of his word. He paid me I was making peanuts in the beginning, but I had a free place, and he paid me very well. Like I would get a bonus at the end of the year, and I was clean. And it was the first time I was able to really put some money away.
And what was that like? I mean, because you've talked before about kind of scrounging, and we've talked about the money, past due rent. It must have been a relief to be clean and to know that you had a place.
Well, right. And, even though I wasn't actively participating in the NAAA meetings, which I later did, I knew to clean up my bills and make amends. Mm-hmm. So whether it was I could never pay my parents back. That would have been a numerical impossibility. They were happy that I just wasn't borrowing money from them. So what was that? You can say the number.
24.
Yeah, they were happy I wasn't borrowing money from them. And there was a laundry list of people who I owed money to, including some friends that were, involved with, drug debts back in the day. It's not like I was going to approach some dangerous guy. Mm-hmm. But
Shredded Ed wasn't.
No, Shredded Ed was long gone. But I wanted to pay people back, and I was able to, it was like, and I'm sure, and you've been through this, and AJ's been through this too, where, it's like a big deal the first time you have a bank account with $500 or $1,000, and then it's like, I got $1,500.
Yeah.
Right? So on and so forth.
Absolutely.
So it was really nice, and I was really, really into, the hustle of the tickets. Mm-hmm. I loved working. Back then, tickets used to go on sale. Most of it's funny. Now they've switched the on sales to Mondays.
Oh.
But back then, it would be Saturdays.
I remember lining up on Saturday mornings for the wrestling tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
You must have lined up for some concert tickets.
By the time I was going to concerts, it was all online already.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been 01.
Yep.
Yeah, the first concert I went to by myself was the Dave Matthews Band.
Where was that at?
That was at Hershey.
Okay.
So, and then my brother started taking me to some better shows. We saw the Strokes. Saw a number of bands that were hot at the time. The Yeah. We were at the infamous Guns N' Roses concert where they didn't show up in Philly, and that was the end.
They didn't show up at all?
No.
I went to Guns N' Roses during their Appetite for Destruction. Is that the name of the album? Mm-hmm. And they had the reputation of coming out, they wanted to be like Led Zeppelin. Well, even Led Zeppelin didn't do this. They wanted to come on late. Mm-hmm. And I remember, oh Christ, who was the opening act? I can't remember.
Cinderella?
This was like the 89-90 tour.
Okay, maybe on that tour, Enough Zenuff.
Well, maybe it was them. But they ended it like the opening band ended at like 8:40.
Yeah.
And Guns N' Roses didn't come on. They have that law that we know about because we worked the Garden.
The curfew, yeah.
You have to be done by 11 o'clock.
Yep.
Or else you're paying these union scales. They call, they have like golden time or some shit.
Yeah.
Right?
And we like unions, but that's a lot of money.
Right. So even the Grateful Dead would,
wrap it up.
They would 10:55, it was done.
Right.
So, but Guns N' Roses, that was one of their downfalls. Did you read Slash's? I read Slash's book years ago.
Yeah, I read Slash's book. I read, what's the bass player's name? No, not Fleece from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Bass Player is a great book also. And he talks about how he went back to college, and that's how he figured out that Axl had sort of Duff McKagan. That's it. Duff McKagan went back to college and figured out that, oh, crap. I think we signed the name rights away.
The thing I remember, there's a lot of things about the Slash book. He wasn't the nicest guy.
No.
But when they were doing the big tour with Metallica.
Right, 91, 92. Yeah.
And they're opening for Metallica. Mm-hmm. And they were so tardy. You know, the only time you would hear this word is in school. Oh, he's tardy.
Right.
They were so undependable.
Yeah.
And the guys from Metallica, I'm sure they did their share of partying, or maybe they didn't, because I really never heard any wild Metallica stories. Maybe I haven't read enough about them. Mm-hmm. But the point was that Guns N' Roses was so just not reliable that Metallica actually said to them, "Hey boys, do you want to be the feature? We'll go on first.
There you go.
Fine with us."
Yep.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Especially with the egos of, I mean, Metallica was the group that helped bring down Napster for a number of reasons, but also, you know, there's the ego part of our music's being distributed for free. We don't like that. And Metallica's very famously has huge, you know, they think very highly of themselves.
Right. So they, but yeah, you had all those shows, as well as I think the 93 Knicks went to the championships.
93, 94 Knicks, yeah. They went to and the Rangers did the same year. And they actually had the finals and the Stanley Cup at the same time. They played in Houston.
Yeah, that 94 was a big, man, that was a big year.
Yeah.
We'll keep this one short, and we'll talk a little more about that next week. I also want to bring up, we were talking about in our pop culture section, we were talking about the Zeppelin and the Bill Graham and that Peter Grant, the ex-wrestler and manager of Led Zeppelin. Well, that led me to Alan Klein. Do you know that name?
Don't know the name.
Yes, you do.
Do I?
He managed the Stones and the Beatles simultaneously for a period of time.
No way.
Yeah, and I'll school you a little bit on Alan Klein next week.
All right. And to pull the curtain back, we are condensing this episode very transparently because I'm going to be in the bubble next week. So we are recording 2 episodes tonight, and I have 2 little ones, and it's very difficult to stay up and wake up with 2 little guys.
And I also want to give a shout out to Sinclair Broadcasting and Joe Koff, Greg, and Gary, who went out of their way to clear the way for me if I was able to go down to the anniversary show without the bubble protocol. But just the way things are rolling out with my vaccines. And I spoke to Joe, and Joe, who's going to have the second vaccine, it's not going to be. He's a couple of years older than me. He's not going to be there either because it hasn't been 2 weeks. He just wants to be safe. So as much as I'd love to be there, I won't be there. But it's going to be a fantastic event. So
absolutely,
we'll be talking more about that next week too.
Yeah. So as we record this, we are just under 3 weeks away. It's going to be 2 weeks away, and it's Friday, March 26th. Jay Lethal versus Roosh already announced. Jay Briscoe versus EC3 already announced. I got a hunch that Shane Taylor Promotions is going to defend the 6-man titles against Mexa Squad. Going to be a hell of a match, and all the titles are on the line. So Jonathan Gresham will be defending the Pure title against somebody, and the TV title on the line. If Dragon Lee is the champ, he's going to defend against somebody. I'm thinking it's going to be Tracy Williams. He just won that match on Week by Week today.
So that's Friday night, March 26th.
And you can watch it on Honor Club. All tiers get it. It's $9.99 a month. You can order it. You can enjoy current Ring of Honor. Go back and catch Kerry's heyday with CM Punk, Samoa Joe, Jay Lethal, AJ Styles, all the great names in Ring of Honor's history. We encourage you to do that. Get it a couple weeks in advance. Start watching now.
And please subscribe to Last Stop Penn Station. Buy a Camel t-shirt. Buy a Last Stop t-shirt. Email Bisson Creative. He needs more work.
As he's the most popular man in Lehigh Valley right now. As he is. He's got so much work. We've been promoting him for good reason, but he's got so much work right now that he's dozing. Oh, poor guy. Poor AJ. Give him more work, though. Make him some more money. You only live once.
Well, We'll be back next week with some more stuff.
We will. It's going to be a lot of fun. So for AJ from Bisson Creative, that's bissoncreative.com, BISSON creative.com. And Gary, I'm Ian Riccaboni. Thanks for listening.
Don't forget Eric from Discover Pro Wrestling, who helps me with notes and other things. And go ahead. Hi.
Yeah. Happy wrestling. We'll talk to you next week right here on Last Stop Penn Station.
For listening to Last Stop Penn Station podcast. Rate, review, like, subscribe, and share on your favorite platform. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or at laststoppennstation.com.